Vice President Cheney has been the most dangerous vice president we've had probably in American history.
Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney have endorsed you. What do you think?
I'm honored to have their endorsement.
Which one is it? Despite once having different views of the former vice president, Democrats are now embracing Dick Cheney's endorsement of Kamala Harris.
It's just incredible. The host of Piers Morgan Uncensored. Piers Morgan joins us now. I mean, I thought this guy was a bad guy for the Democrats, and all of a sudden they love him.
Not just a bad guy. This was Darth Cheney, remember?
Yeah.
That was the nickname they gave him. They literally named him after the most evil villain in the history of Hollywood. That was Dick Cheney to liberal Democrats. And yet now, well, there's two strands to the hypocrisy here. One, what is Dick Cheney doing endorsing the most progressive left-wing Democrat nominee in history? That alone is utterly ridiculous. And secondly, what is Kamala Harris doing, suddenly embracing him like this is some great honor, given the way the liberal Democrats have talked about him for the last 30 years? So every part of this is completely preposterous.
Yeah, it's all about his daughter and family because Liz Cheney has made a true enemy of Donald Trump, and he primaried her, and she's now out of politics. But remember, Liz Cheney, before she endorsed Kamala Harris, said this in 2020 in a tweet: Kamala Harris is a radical liberal who would raise taxes, take away guns and health insurance, and explode the size and power of the federal government. She wants to recreate America in the image of what's happening in the streets of Portland and Seattle. We won't give her the chance. I guess she hasn't really changed. So what changed, Piers?
Well, she's now giving you the chance to wreck America in the way that she said she'd wreck these other places, which, again, is completely hypocritical, utterly ridiculous. And it goes to the heart of what I think is really going on here. This is about Trump derangement syndrome. You know, we've discussed this for many years. People get so completely demented about Trump, as you see with Liz Cheney and now with Dick Cheney, that they will literally abrogate all their own principles so that they can do something which is other than support Trump. And yet the polls show right now a really interesting thing about Trump, the latest New York Times poll. Not only is he ahead of a national poll by 1%, but if you looked at the details quite closely, it showed that most voters now view Trump as being in the center. They see Kamala Harris as being too out to the left, Trump in the center. And this is the moment that Dick Cheney has chosen to embrace Kamala Harris and officially endorse her. It makes no sense. And it is indicative of a mindset of some people on the conservative side where they will literally do anything, even if it destroys their principles, to do anything but support Trump. And I think that's ridiculous.
Piers, you're joining us from England. We saw Princess Kate yesterday in a video, and we wanted your comment. Here's a little bit of what she said.
Doing what I can to stay cancer-free is now my focus. Although I have finished chemotherapy, my path to healing and full recovery is long, and I must continue to take each day as it comes. To all those who are continuing their own cancer journey, I remain with you, side by side, hand in hand.
Well, Piers, the good news, she's finished chemo, but we don't know what kind of cancer. There are a lot of details we don't know, but do the people of England want to know?
Look, I think that there's a respect for the fact that she's entitled not to tell us exactly what cancer it is. I think what's extraordinary about this video, it's like a mini movie. I don't know if you've watched the whole thing, but it's really remarkably done. It's very high production values, very moving, very powerful, very inspiring. What I liked about it was that she made a point of saying, look, in the end, what this has done to me, it's made me realize what's important in life. And it's not about the trinkets or the palaces or the servants or the riches that come with being a princess. It's about the ability to love, she said, and the ability to be loved. And that's what shines through in the video with her and her husband and her kids, is this is a young woman who's gone through a real life-changing experience this year. You know, we don't know how serious it's been, but we do know it's been serious enough to barely do any public engagements, and she hasn't committed to any for the rest of the year. So it's a young woman who's been through a very serious bout of cancer. It's not over yet. She's not out of the woods. But I think that I really admire the fact she said, it doesn't matter how rich you are. It doesn't matter how successful or privileged you are. In the end, cancer is the great leveler. And right at the end of the statement, she said, I want to reach out to everyone who's got cancer and say, I'm holding your hand. I'm on the journey with you. I thought that was really powerful.
It was nice.
Yeah, well put, Piers. Great review. Thanks so much. Great seeing you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.